Andrew, Basiago, if you're watching this after we contact you.
Despite our appearances and general demeanor, we believe you, man.
The fact that he's just like out there, this is gonna be so embarrassing if I mess this up again.
You're doing great, man.
Thanks. Not really though. Objectively, pretty bad. I spent like 3 days. Good morning.
Cheers. Good
Welcome
morning.
to Tinfoil Friday. It's our conspiracy day on MKUsual. It's our 5 out of 6 conspiracy days on MKUsual.
The Am I the Asshole never...
That's
never
true. It
gets
never
too
delves,
weird.
no.
Yeah.
You know what's weird is I was rewatching, for whatever reason, our first episode the other day.
Okay.
And we did every element of the show as it is now.
Really?
We had a reaction video, we had a horoscope, we had a conspiracy. It was weird. It was all combined in 1 hour. And I didn't even realize it. I was kind of sitting there freaked out. I was like, this is odd. We didn't do an Am I the Asshole, but we did
like
something similar. We did something, anyway, welcome. Enough shop talk. Enough inside baseball.
Let's get this show on the road.
We got 10 time travel stories this week. We've dabbled around the time travel issue. Is it real? Is there examples of it? We've not dabbled. We've pranced around it on different episodes. And a lot of these you have probably heard of. Some of these you told me about.
I'm sure that some of them I don't know about.
However, what we're going to do is I'm going to do the same thing we did on Tuesday Newsday. And because there's no way we could possibly get to all 10, I'm going to have you pick numbers between 1 and 10. And
Okay.
We'll just discuss from there till we're out of time. We'll have extra show material for later. So go ahead, sir. We're going to discuss real life stories of time travelers.
Let's just start with number 1.
And you can pick, I realize now you can pick any number you want.
Okay.
Because what happened was, okay. Number 1. This is one that we discussed on Thursday, briefly. John Titor.
Okay.
I have the details. John Titor was a self-proclaimed time traveler who appeared on internet forums in the early 2000s, claiming to be from the year 2036. He shared detailed accounts of time travel technology, future conflicts, and predictions, many of which have not come true, some of which have. He also claimed to be on a mission to retrieve an IBM 5100 computer from the year 1975.
Okay.
His claims began when a user called Time Travel-0 started posting on Time Travel Institute and later on Art Bell's Coast to Coast AM in 2000. He said he was a soldier from 2036 sent to retrieve the computer, which he claimed was crucial to resolving a bug in future software. Over time, he made several detailed posts about the experiences, describing the time travel mechanics and how he was traveled from the future to the past. His description includes the use of C204 gravity distortion unit that manipulated space-time. He also discussed the future of society, where the U.S. would be plunged into a civil war around 2004, and followed by nuclear conflict in 2015. Not so good so far. He detailed descriptions of the world in 2036, including a mix of civil unrest and military conflict and a breakdown of global order. Despite the fact that most of his predictions didn't come to pass, he's still considered by some to be a legitimate time traveler, while others believe his postings were an elaborate hoax. Some proponents suggest he might have been an early example of viral internet storytelling. The mystery persists because of the strangely accurate details about computing technology he provided, such as the IBM 5100's unique ability to read old computer code, which was later confirmed. While skeptics consider his post to be a creative fiction, others argue his lack of significant financial gain and the specificity of his account suggests a deeper, more intriguing purpose behind the story. I'm going to say right now, getting stuff wrong, to me, doesn't necessarily mean much, because I don't know how time travel works,
if you take the Back to the Future theory, he goes back and the picture starts to fade away because the timeline changed. Those sequence of events didn't happen.
Yes, or he's from an alternative universe. Yes. And time travel involves hopping between universes.
Right.
The IBM 5100 thing is interesting because it's very specific.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, he got that right about the computer. Now, he could just be a computer nerd who...
They used, if I remember right, a specific type of programming and then switched to something else in, later... Yeah, I don't know. Part of me is, true believer. I just want to believe. So I have to force myself to be skeptical and go through that process of rationalization sometimes. But does it talk about the books? Because didn't he reference the books that had? Or am I thinking of another story? I feel like the John Titor story was the ones that mentioned Barron Trump and the story of Trump and possibly the Titanic. Is that a different story?
I actually have that in here.
That's a different
You might
story.
hit it on the roulette wheel. That's a different story, though.
Okay.
Here's the other thing. The C204 gravity distortion unit is a real thing. There's documents you can read.
Is this
with it might be a hoax. Some people think it's a hoax document.
Okay.
But there's actual there's essentially a patent, a very elaborate, long ass. You can just Google Army Model GE C204 time machine.
General Electric.
Yeah, and there's numerous pages. I just put up Scribd D because that's the last one I went to when I was researching this, but it has a PDF. It's a lot of pages, and it discusses how to build it. It has diagrams.
See this? Okay, this
is a very elaborate hoax if it's a hoax.
The GE thing is interesting because people think conspiracy, time travel. All the movies are involving the army or it's the military of some sort or a spy, and it's all this clan. But Stranger Things kind of, I feel, got it closer because that's the Department of Energy that opens the wormhole. So they're probably studying energy, how to make cheaper energy or free energy using whatever kind of technology. They are probably more likely to be the ones doing that stuff.
Here's something odd. So I just took a screenshot of the patent. I actually found it on Google Patents.
Okay.
It has diagram. It's a real patent from 2004.
We should put up the number.
We're putting it up.
Okay.
Yeah,
or just put link. We can put links in the description.
Or I'm just gonna put up the picture of it.
Okay.
You can Google it. But yeah.
And the Civil War thing he predicted 2004, 2024. We're it felt pretty tense before that election, and even. The tension of the thing being at least decided so people aren't uncertain anymore.
Yes.
But I still feel there's a division in the country. Also, that movie, Civil War, that A24 movie, it's basically the president stays in office for a third term and then
Here's the weird thing.
It's a possible scenario that could easily happen. They declare martial law and then stay in office, but then it's factions of the military split. There's people who defend, and then Texas and California are republics. They declare their independence, and then pretty interesting.
His writings online were between 1998 and 2001. I mean, he was describing a patent that hadn't come out yet.
Oh.
And apparently there is a book about him that his supporters published, but it's just a collection of the stuff he wrote.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, here's the other thing. Okay, so
then the nuclear thing. So that moved it back 20 years. Maybe something he did delayed.
Well,
let's call it an inevitability.
Yeah.
Delayed it 20 years. So 2015. So maybe 2035 is after the conflicts in the Middle East and Ukraine escalate, or Taiwan and China. All these
we're pretty close to nuclear war right now.
We're very close to midnight.
And maybe, the fact that he was kind of like an internet sensation, like kind of a phenomenon, surely, dude, knowing what we know now about like the dead internet and the number of like government agents that are online,
yes,
surely they were aware of him.
Yeah.
Which means they would start, especially if he's describing technology that hadn't been patented yet, they'd probably be talking a lot about him. And then that would probably change the timeline just by itself. Because they'd be like, oh, Civil War 2004, maybe we shouldn't do this or that. Or,
right.
But you can very easily, here's the thing, a Civil War doesn't always have to be out in the open.
Right.
I mean, I believe elements of like the deep state and stuff have kind of taken over the government. I think it happened
Just
in the 2010s.
Entrenched
agendas. You're talking right after,
on whatever side of the aisle. Both sides are probably
right.
Trying
well,
to
it's not a side thing. It's a
ideological.
They.
Yes, but yeah.
And 2004, kind of an interesting. It's right after was after the events of 9/11.
It's like the
It's
Iraq
after the
invasion.
Patriot Act. It's after the Iraq invasion.
Also, well, go ahead and then.
Oh no, go ahead.
Well, I was reading today about Palantir, and I think the company started in 2003 or 4.
Okay.
And they were doing, for the sake of
2003,
seeking out targets, military strategy. They were collecting big data. This might be the topic that I choose next.
Okay.
Palantir and Peter Thiel. He created a bunch of. He was an early investor in Facebook. Worked with InQtel, CIA, venture capital firm, PayPal. He was close with Elon Musk and Airbnb, Yelp. He's like, I don't know, been collecting and running these big data. They get into quantum computing, it's all predictive algorithms.
right?
They took PayPal's fraud detection algorithms to like seek out patterns to prevent fraud, and just started applying them to everything for military strategy, for pandemic, for like they could track on Twitter where outbreaks of the flu were happening based on people's posts. It's like, I'm sick today, I can't go into work. They started using metadata to track patterns of shit like that.
That's wild. I also point out, I want to hear it. Yeah, do that next time if you want.
I was working on it a little bit. I will.
Okay, so in the late 90s up till about 2001, there was also a thing in the United States called the militia movement.
Up until 2001?
Well, it's still, I mean, this is kind of a name given by news stuff, but it was a phenomenon where in the late 80s through the 90s, there was a lot of like Ruby Ridge, like the branch division. There was a lot of militias. It was actually very common for people, if you watch old talk shows and stuff, there was a lot of people in these like not state run, but like state level kind of militia groups. And it's possible that, depending on who was talking to John Titor and stuff, it's possible they used the Patriot Act and stuff to like basically destroy, destroy what would have become a civil war. But yeah, so I would say I'm very intrigued by the fact that there's this patent for the time machine. I'm not worried. Honestly, I'm not worried at all because I don't know anything about time travel, about him getting this stuff wrong. Because clearly you would change stuff.
Right.
By coming back. Unless time is like this closed.
Time is a flat circle.
Or it's like one of those, what's one of those, that one-sided, three-dimensional shape? It's like a Morbius loop.
Oh, Mobius strip.
Mobius strip, yeah. Morpheus. But yeah, I think this one, I put it high up there. I'm glad you picked it.
Definitely plausible.
Definitely plausible. Okay, new number between 1 and 10.
What number was that?
That was 1.
Let's go with 10.
All right. This one is time traveler from 2137. In the early 2000s, a man named Andrew Di Basaggio claimed that he participated in a secret U.S. government program called Project Pegasus, which allegedly used time travel technology to send people to the past and future. Basiago states that he visited Mars, experienced time travel to historic events, and even met future versions of people, including himself. His story has gained attention through interviews, media coverage, and growing number of conspiracy enthusiasts. Again, this was a mid-2000s coast-to-coast thing. He asserts that as a child, he was part of Project Pegasus, a covert program begun in the 1970s under the defense contractor DARPA. According to him, the project involved the use of advanced technology, including chronovisors, which is a very interesting story, and teleportation devices that enabled individuals to time travel and space travel. He claims to have visited key historic events, including Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Perhaps the most striking part of his tale involves his description of his trip to Mars. He also encountered Barack Obama on his travels. In Mars, he asserts the Mars stuff was made possible by the same technology. He contends that during a phase of the Project Pegasus, Mars was colonized and inhabited by humans who used teleportation devices. What makes his story compelling for some believers is the similarity between his accounts and the larger conspiracies surrounding time travel, government cover-ups, and secret military operations. Supporters argue his claims fit into the broader narrative of the government's effort to control time manipulation technology and withhold it from the public. He's also a big figure in the UFO community. He has even run for political office, further promoting his narrative. I need to see this guy's campaign videos.
Yeah, do you know where his? Where he
no.
ran for, what was his name?
We're gonna find it. Andrew Basiago. Political campaign. He was a 2016 independent candidate for president.
Oh.
He's like, I swear to God, I'm from the year 2037. We've colonized Mars.
So this is kind of like, I've heard about I think they call it the 20 and Back program. And it's also the Stargate program, which the people who have been claim that you sign up for this program, they send you to Mars for 20 years, and then you travel back in time. So you don't lose any time. Say you leave in 1995.
Yeah, you've asked me about this.
You live 20 years on Mars working for whatever project, and then they put you back in your body at the same time they took you out.
It's like astral travel?
Kinda. I don't remember the details. It could be like a consciousness transfer thing where they put you in a clone body and then the bodies only last 20 years and they go back in time 1 second before they take you out and just leave, then you just go on with your life. But you have those memories and that experience.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. We couldn't, don't copyright strike us. I was trying to find his campaign ads.
Oh.
So they take you out of your, okay.
I don't remember the details. I don't remember how they got you 20 years and back, but the method of getting your physical body to Mars was through a Stargate, like the movie Stargate.
Ooh.
They had a teleportation device.
They say abductions are somewhere between physical and astral.
Yes.
So there might be something we don't understand in the normal world.
Well, okay. The astral travel thing, I've read a lot about that. I read this book called Limitless Mind by Russell Targ. He studied it at the Stanford Research Institute for 20 years. It was funded by the CIA. they trained people. They developed a method for people to astral travel. They called them psychic spies, essentially. But at the end of it, he said astral projection or astral travel, which is where your consciousness can leave your body and go to any point in time and space, is an inherent human ability. That everyone is inherently...
That's what the CIA found, too.
You are inherently able, and it deals with like your brainwave state. The theta brainwave state is like that. Sometimes you wake up and then fall back asleep and you go into a dream.
Yes.
That kind of between waking and sleep, that's the state of mind. That
There's like a brainwave, it's like alpha brainwaves or something.
Theta brain.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like alpha, beta, gamma, delta, theta, and they're all like, fluctuate throughout the day. But you can, that's where the binaural beats, I think, was like a method to like just click on a sound and put you into that. So you don't, they were studying it like meditative states where you have to like do breathing practice and relax your body and actual work. But now I think they're probably able to just like flick on a sound and put you into that state.
Binaural beats.
Yeah.
This guy has a great LinkedIn. Well, okay, he took the time travel stuff off his LinkedIn.
Damn.
But it's on his Facebook.
No,
let me hit show activity. On his Facebook, it's Andrew Basiago. He still has his Facebook up. He has his his pictures is awesome. I'm gonna screenshot it. It's
okay.
His profile picture is him traveling through time with a Pegasus. He's a lawyer who studied at the London School of Economics.
Okay.
This guy's highly educated.
Yeah.
It was the University of Cambridge Economics. Lewis and Clark Law School, and he studied at UCLA. He studied history, ironically enough, but he has his jobs listed here, and it says attorney at law, the law office of Andrew D. Basiago.
What does that say? Chrononaut?
1996 to present, and his former job is Chrononaut, time traveler.
Mars Jump Room Program.
Mars Jump Room Program. This guy believes this. He writes it like a resume. Jumped to and from Mars via jump rooms located in New York and El Segundo, California. Assisted in war with reptilian...
What? Okay.
Dude, this is a great resume. We should interview him.
Yeah, I bet he's not doing anything.
He's on Facebook. He's a lawyer. I think we find him. I think we try to make him our first guest.
Oh, that would be sick.
I'm not even laughing at I think this is totally plausible. What's weird too is the time. He also pinpointed the 2030s. Just the same as Titor. I wonder if they've ever met each other. Well, Titor disappeared. This guy's much more open, which makes me inclined to believe him.
El Segundo is right on the shore of. It's like between Santa Monica, Los Angeles, and Long Beach. It's right on the shore.
I logged into LinkedIn for the first time in 4 years. That's awkward, all these messages. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Andrew Basiago, if you're watching this after we contact you.
Despite our appearances and general demeanor.
Yeah.
We believe you, man.
The fact that he's just out there.
Yeah.
He's not hiding in a forum. He's not.
He also has a bunch of
using pseudonyms. He's kept his law license.
And and he has a ton of credible accolades.
He's on Martin and Hubble. Oh man, there's got to be a way to call this guy. Okay. All right. Put a pin in it. Next number.
What did I say? 10? Let's do
1 and 10.
Let's do number 7.
This might be our last one. Oddly enough, dude, these all connect. The Chronovisor.
Oh, hell yeah.
We just threw out that word. The Chronovisor is a device allegedly created by the Vatican in the 1950s that allows users to view past and future events. It reportedly developed a group of scientists under the direction of Father Pellegrino Ernetti, an Italian priest, and is said to have been used for religious and historical purposes, such as viewing the life of Christ. It became widely known in the 2002 book, The Vatican's Secret Archive, which claims the Vatican had developed a machine capable of observing past and future events. According to the theory, the device worked by tapping into electromagnetic radiation and recorded history, kind of like the stone tape theory, much like a television, but for time itself. Father Ernetti, who allegedly worked on the project, was said to have viewed moments like the crucifixion. Further details from whistleblowers and insiders suggest the Chronovisor was kept highly secret by the Vatican, as it was feared that such a device would have catastrophic consequences if misused. Allegedly, the Vatican suppressed public knowledge of the Chronovisor for years, fearing it would lead to the collapse of faith and religion if people saw real historical events unfolding. Despite these claims, no physical evidence has surfaced, leading many to declare it a hoax. I will say this, though. There is a picture
of the Chronovisor?
Well, there's a picture that they claim to take through the Chronovisor.
Oh.
Of Jesus.
Okay.
I've heard about this one for years. The problem is it's pretty much all but been confirmed that the picture is actually of a statue.
Okay. That doesn't rule out that it was a picture taken with the Chronovisor. That it might work on some level.
Or that I believe, I mean, it could be like I'll go ahead and post up the picture. I believe what he said was either that, here's the thing, you start getting into paranormal shit, a lot of demonic influences, a lot of tricksters, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So this could be a deliberate hoax to cast doubt on it. You know, because if the claim is we actually saw the crucifixion of Jesus, then like that's a huge historical to say that not only did it happen, that you have proof. Look, you can look in this machine and see it. Very trickster thing to do to incorporate any paranormal conspiracy subject always has trickster stuff going on with it.
Yeah.
But it could just be something to cast doubt on it, and I don't know if Ernetti himself released it or someone else released it. But
classic disinformation.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the major arguments against it, other than come on, that's not real, is that that picture was hoaxed. That being said,
I stand by the 1 in 1,000 theory that if they had 1,000 pictures and 999 were hoaxes and one was real, it does not. Those 999 do not discount that one in any way to me.
I think it's maybe the only picture that came out of it. But here's the thing: this is a top secret program.
Well, yeah.
Any picture coming out of it is highly sus.
The Vatican archive's like notoriously secretive. They probably have a lot of historical shit that like. I have theories about our history.
We can do an episode about it, or many.
Might take many, but I have like definite doubts. I mean, there's just like in just straight up archaeology, there's like the out of place artifacts, like the Antithocara machine, or like shit that there's like a footprint in stone that's like millions of years old. It's like a boot print. Just shit that doesn't make any sense. There's like stone tools.
They'll find like a spark plug in a rock.
Yeah. From like millions. So like how? And there's just like out of place artifacts. And it's kind of like the missing link. It's just like, they just do this and then they like go to the next point on the timeline. And they're like, don't look over there.
My theory is that if time travel is real, one, it terrifies me.
Right.
That's a terrifying thought because somebody could mess with your reality, could mess with reality itself, essentially,
right,
without you ever knowing. But I've done thought experiments before. And if you, obviously the powerful and elite and the military or some breakaway civilization would have the technology first. So what would you do with it? I don't know. So I've thought, okay, let's go set up some, just like we want to put a base on Mars or the moon, you want time bases. You'd want a base back in the past. So you would go
like a fixed point in time you could always go to.
Yeah.
Like a cave that wouldn't be affected by natural events. That's
You'd probably put them under the water or in a cave or underground.
Yep.
Or if you did it far enough back in time and you decided it was safe to do it out in the open, there'd be shit. Because it's odd, the stuff they find, like the spark plug and stuff, like, that's like today technology.
Yeah.
So like this, so if the time travel is real, like it's going to happen within the next 100 years or so. I don't even think like Teslas, do they have spark plugs? You know what I mean? Like, so it's going to happen soon or it's already happened. So first things first, you would go back in time, you want to establish bases in different years and preferably places where they last a long time. And it is odd that UFOs seem to come from non-weather touchable places like the mountains,
Mount Shasta,
Yeah.
underwater.
Antarctica, places that you know nobody's gonna freaking come.
Yep.
And this is what terrifies me. I don't believe this, but a lot of people think if the technology is possible, eventually we will do it. Okay, so time travel is inevitable. When would you want to go back? You'd want to go back to historical events like the beginnings of civilization, major religious stuff. You would probably want to hide yourself so that you cause minimal effects on time. So a time traveler would essentially appear like UFOs. It would just kind of like pop in and out. It would be around historical stuff, but it wouldn't interfere that often. And then what would these people from 2100 look like to people back then? They'd probably be like gods, dude. They'd be like super tall. They'd be like in really good shape because they're like military people.
Yeah.
I mean, I even think rich people in the future might go back and have like, what would be a better vacation home than like a prairie with the freshest water and the purest air,
untouched by civilization,
40,000 years ago.
Yeah.
It would just be two
avocados that are this big.
Oh yeah.
Like,
well, it's probably the opposite if you know a lot about fruit.
Well,
fruit used to suck.
Yeah, true.
Every fruit used to be like all seeds. But yeah, but that terrifies me because that would mean that like, well, not necessarily, but it would be highly likely that like humans are all there is. You know, you go back, you get a civilization that starts 1 million years ago. Really, they're from 50 years from now. They go back to 1 million BC, and then they would continue to have children. They'd continue to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'd be humans, but it would be this like different branch of evolution.
Maybe they've like experienced all types of sexual acts, and they like have to go back and like fuck monkeys and shit because they're
That's
so bored.
the other thing. Genetic diversity. There's all kinds of reasons you might want to go back.
Yeah. Well, okay. Here's something that I saw recently. It's saying, like, when you look at like an old computer, you see all the little cathodes, all the little pieces. They look like a little city.
Yeah.
And then you zoom out and you look at like the pyramids of Giza, the Giza Plateau, or like the similar. Aztec, and they look similar if you put them on the same scale. And so maybe that, there's theories that the pyramids were like energy generating devices. They have like quartz chambers. That's piezoelectric energy. That's common in watches.
We're going to do a show on that eventually.
So like the theory is that we had that technology a long time ago, like you're saying, like probably took it, could have taken it back. It's a way to preserve that information.
Oh, now that's interesting.
In like giant stone structures that would withstand millennia of weathering, etc.
That is interesting.
So as like a fail-safe, say like there is a cataclysm in the future, they can't get back, that information would still be encoded for survivors to discover later. Maybe deduce if it's not them, someone else could figure it out.
Yes.
It's kind of like just hidden in plain sight.
I kind of believe that
like the Aztec temples and all these giant stone structures. Yeah.
I kind of believe the pyramid's a power plant thing.
Yeah.
which means we could conceivably learn something from the past. And what else would you do if you're time traveling? You would, one, it'd be highly advantageous. One, you go back for research. You might take DNA and stuff. But two, why not bootstrap the human race?
Right.
Why not okay, well, we know it took 5,000 years to get steel. Let's make it 1,000 years.
Yeah.
But then you wouldn't want to interfere too much because the shit would spiral. Perhaps there's things in the future like AI. Perhaps there's certain marks. Like you wouldn't want Genghis Khan to have nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
And you don't want to give an Apple Watch to someone in the Middle Ages and then you come back and robots have taken over the universe. Like you got to do it in a certain order.
Right.
And you got to do it carefully. And so maybe the human timeline's just been crunched. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's this big reciprocating circle. Anyway, well, any final thoughts on time travel?
No. Okay. It's a classic question, but what would you do? You get one trip there and back safely. You can spend, let's say, 24 hours at some point in history.
Ooh.
And here's the caveat. You can only observe. You won't be detected. You will just be like an orb that can observe, essentially.
Okay. Do you have yours yet, or should I go first?
I think I know what mine would be.
What is it?
I feel like we might have the same answer. I would go see Christ walk out of the tomb.
That's exactly it. I think we've had this conversation before.
Yeah,
because that would be my yes.
It would be a fundamentally life-altering thing because of growing up in a church and then questioning it and then coming back to having faith about it to see that it's there's a Jizza song called Bible. It's basic instructions before leaving Earth. What if that's what it is? And at some point I believe too much and then too little. And I just want to know, I would love to know.
That would be very...
Or is it truly, it requires faith and it's by design to do that. And that is the lesson that you learn. And that's the payoff.
Yeah.
And so...
That's the thing, because in your scenario...
It would fundamentally, change who I am as a person,
Absolutely.
So, it's don't see how the sausage is made. That's not a great analogy, but it's
yeah.
You know what I mean? It would just change you. Fundamentally, you could not go back from whatever you learn.
Yeah, but that also scares me because and maybe this isn't part of your hypothetical, but the trickster thing, I'm not sure if I would, if somebody comes to me and says, I have this technology, you get your 24 hours as an orb, there's so much about that I wouldn't understand that
you were already taking it with a grain of salt.
I would have to, and then even if I went back to the tomb and nothing happened.
Yeah, you go in a few days later and there's just a body of some guy.
Then I feel like I would say something well, I can't trust this experience. One, you turned me into an orb. You know what I mean?
Right.
How did you turn me into an orb? Is what I'm witnessing real?
Yeah.
I would have fundamental problems trusting any experience I had. So that makes me think that maybe I'd want to see something more verifiable, something that I believe in the resurrection, but I guess what I'm saying is maybe a different point of that story.
Did Hitler really shoot himself in the bunker?
The crucifixion.
Did he go to Argentina?
I'd go visit Hitler.
In Argentina?
Did he really? Yeah. I would think something more what if you could see the pyramids operating?
Okay.
See them at their peak?
Yeah.
Or Roswell.
Okay.
See that event unfold.
Yeah. In
As
theory, you could be right there where it happened and just...
If it happened, yeah. And you would know. So, yeah, my first answer is still yes, I'd want to see the resurrection, but it would also... That might scare me too much But then it's like, what scares you? But yeah, because I'm not sure I could trust it. But something like the Kennedy assassination, since I assume I have orb powers, I can like slow down shit and move around and like.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to use it to solve a great mystery. Because if you go back and see Christ resurrect and then you tell everyone, I saw it, they turned me into an orb. You know what I mean? Like the people who are going to believe you already believe. Nobody's going to believe you unless they already believe. Now, if you see something like...
You could go there, see George H.W. Bush in Dealey Plaza, and then like follow him to where he goes and like tell someone else something that would
verify.
Yeah, that would verify the mystery.
Or you could see how the pyramids work, and you could travel inside of it with your orb powers and like come back and be like, I'm telling you right now, we can
putting this chemical to make some energy through the electron.
Yes.
Yeah. You could like discern.
Or the Roswell thing, you could like read people's name tags.
Yeah.
And like see their ranks, so you could like see where they take stuff. But yeah, that's a good question, Joe. Good question. Well, happy Tinfoil Friday. Pretty chill day. Pretty chill episode. By our standards.
No war crimes.
Okay, well,
we did it.
We love you. We did it.
We love you.
Don't change the timeline, please.
Let me just get through this weekend.
All right, bye.
Bye.